And we're back on the Fowler Show. Tonight in the policy breakdown, I want to talk about comments that were made by Paul Ryan just a couple days ago. So in a radio interview with Bill Bennett, Paul Ryan made the following comment, suggesting that young inner city men are not even thinking about work or learning the values and the culture of work because they rely on the government for assistance. That's what he assumed in his statement. And, a lot of folks, including, Barbara Lee, said this was a thinly veiled racial attack, right? Thinly veiled, and it is indeed a thinly veiled racial attack. It was a racial attack at the height of racism when a sitting member of Congress, especially somebody who's in charge of writing the United States budget, when their ideal of the inner city is men who feel as though they don't have a culture of work. What world do you live in? If you go into the inner city and you talk to these men, there's so many men in the inner city that are teachers. There's so many in the city that are garbage men, public sector employees that just can't afford to live outside the inner city. But they work every day. They take care of their families every day. They come home to their wives every day. And the fact that Paul Ryan would make a comment summarizing the entire inner city of America and saying that they don't have this culture of work and they believe in government handouts and they're lazy is just beyond me and beyond the truth. Now, with all due respect to Senator Ryan, that was not a Freudian slip. That was just a mistake. With all due respect to Representative Paul Ryan, he did clear it up and he did try to backpedal a little bit, and he said the following. After reading the transcript of yesterday morning's interview, it is clear that I was inaccurate about the point I was trying to make. I was not implicating that the culture of one's community, but society as a whole. My response, while noble, Congressman Ryan, my response, hell no, America. Negative. Negative. He knew exactly what he was trying to say when he said it. He made it very clear that people who live in the inner city, they don't want to work. There's a culture of laziness, and all they do is depend upon government handouts. Well, the sad truth is, Paul Ryan, even though you've summarized the inner city into your one word or two word lazy, let's not be fooled. And let's talk about the facts. Both in inner city and in rural communities, individuals in this country depend upon government programs to help them survive. Both in trailer parks and in the projects, people depend upon they depend upon government programs to help them survive. It's this understanding that we have poverty in America. Poverty is the universal thing. Yes, there's racism. And yes, there's all these other things, but there's racism and there's poverty. And poverty is what's destroying this country. And in the Paul Ryan budget, if he really wanted to fix these issues, America, if he really wanted to make sure that we didn't have any more inner cities, he could. He writes the budget for the United States of America. He could indeed fix our problems. If they took some more of the money that went to the DOD or went in corporate welfare and corporate giveaways to millionaires and billionaires, they could fix poverty in America. The truth of the matter is this. We had almost eliminated poverty in this country. We had eliminated hunger in this country until Ronald Reagan showed up, who is Paul Ryan's hero right next to Ayn Rand, right? And then they decided to put in their draconian Republican cuts that destroyed the African American community. It destroyed the Hispanic community. And more importantly, above all, it destroyed those that are poor. The Republicans, there's this argument out that they're raging a war against women. I would argue that the Republicans are waging an apocalypse against the poor. They will do everything in their power, not only to degrade them in speech, but they'll do everything in their power to destroy poor people. Let's take the food away from them. Let's close down the good schools, right? Let's take away their housing. Let's gentrify their communities. Let's eliminate their ability to get to work by cutting public transportation funding, right? Let's go after their teachers that teach them. Let's go after the garbage men that pick up their garbage. Let's go after the firefighters that protect them. Let's go after the police officers that keep them safe. Let's go after the nurses that make sure they stay healthy. Let's attack Obamacare, the only chance that some of these individuals have at getting health care. Let's attack a jobs bill, the only chance these folks getting a real job. It's not like they're out there not applying for jobs, Paul Ryan. I ask you this one question. Have you ever been unemployed, Paul Ryan? Have you ever had to fight to get a job and being in a room against 20, 30, 40 different applicants? Huh? Have you ever made a mistake once in your life at 18 or 17 or 16 or 15, and because of that, you have a felony on your record and it makes it impossible for you to get employed? Huh? Paul Ryan? Talk to me. Are your parents subject to mandatory minimum sentences that put your father or your mother behind bars for having a crack rock this big for 20 years? Huh? Do you know what these people are going through? My mom used to say one thing to me growing up as a child. You don't know what others are going to until you put yourself in their shoes. And Congressman Ryan, nor any other Republican that I have seen, has taken the time out of their busy day to put themselves in the shoes of the poor, the shut-in, the old, the young, women. They never put themselves in those shoes. They don't know what it feels like to be a single mother, working the night shift to take care of your 3 boys. They don't know what it feels like to have your father ripped away from you for 20 years because he had a small cracked rock. They don't know what that feels like. They don't know what that is. And so when they sit here and make generalizations about communities they know nothing about and they choose not to educate themselves about, I have a problem with it. And millions of other Americans have a problem with it, because the ideal and the understanding that we are all indivisible with with liberty and justice under God. One country, one nation. We pledge to the same flag, but they want to live in a world where there's 2 separate societies. There's those that have, and the have must continue to have and have more, and those that have not need to have nothing. That is the world that they live in. That is the world that they stand for. That's what they believe in. Their pathway to prosperity is a pathway that is built with broken bottles. Broken bottles and a lot of flames and hot coals. Unless you're rich, when then it's an open gate and a nice paved road. They don't believe in the middle class, because if they did, they would stand for the middle class. They don't believe that everybody should have a chance to go to work, because if they did, they would raise the minimum wage. They don't believe that Americans are that impoverished Americans are capable of being products of our society, because if they did, they would fund bills that put Americans back to work rebuilding America. Don't talk about the inner city. Don't have a problem with the inner city unless you have a solution. Because what I call that is all talk. And everybody can talk. What is your solution? So where are the actions, Paul Ryan? Where are the actions, John Boehner? Where are the actions, Mitch McConnell? There are none. There are no actions. Cut, 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 cut. Destroy, pillage, abuse. The only fraud, waste, and abuse that we see here are from Republicans and conservatives who believe it is okay to take milk and cheese and eggs away from babies. That's the fraud, the waste, and the abuse that I want to talk about, America. That is when we need to have a conversation. Not about whether or not they have this culture of laziness. They don't have a culture of laziness. We haven't given them a chance to seek opportunity. And the few opportunities they do have, we use everything in our power to get rid of them. We will close their schools. We will privatize their schools. We will force them to go on vouchers. We will take away public transportation. How can you expect somebody to pull themselves up with their bootstraps when they don't have boots? And if they did have boots, they don't have any damn straps. Come on, America. Come on. Come on. Are you got to be kidding me? This is absolutely egregious.